Located northeast of Dublin lies a 268-acre estate, Malahide Castle, with botanical gardens, a butterfly house, woodlands with a fairy trail, plus a 9-hole golf course. King Henry II gifted Sir Richard de Talbot, a Norman knight, the lands of Malahide for his services to the crown in 1185. The earliest believed stone fortress at Malahide was an Anglo-Norman tower house. From the 12th century onwards, this stronghold was continually expanded by the Talbot family. Rooms were modified, fortifications developed, and many embellishments to the interior were added until the castle took on its current form. From the Flemish 17th century carvings in the Oak Room, to the Georgian drawing rooms, to the Edwardian bedrooms, Malahide features some of the best periods of Irish craftsmanship. In 1475, the Great Hall at the castle was built for holding feasts and banquets for lords and dignitaries and is a rare example of a Gaelic feasting room. It would have been the location for a Talbot to preside over a medieval court. The Talbot family held many roles of power in church and state, as well as being hereditary Lords Admiral of Malahide, which was a booming seaport. Over 8 centuries, their possession of Malahide Castle was broken for only a short time between 1649 and 1660, when their lands were seized by Cromwellian soldiers and the castle was occupied by Miles Corbett, regicide and Lord Chief Baron of Ireland. In 1949, Milo Reginald Talbot inherited the castle and its contents after the death of his cousin. He retired from the British Foreign Office in 1956 to dedicate more time to construct the botanic collection in the gardens. By 1976, Malahide Castle was one of the oldest inhabited houses in Ireland, but after the sudden death of Lord Milo Talbot in 1973, his sister Rose was faced with a substantial bill for death duties, forcing her to sell the antiques, paintings, castle, and lands in 1976. Malahide Castle was acquired by Dublin County Council in 1976. In June of 1977, Malahide Castle opened to the public.
In the course of 8 centuries, my family have built up here something which I think is unique both historically and aesthetically, and thus worth making a serious attempt to preserve. Lord Milo Talbot, 1973. Well, hey everybody, welcome back.
Hey everyone.
I'm Logan.
And I'm Nicole.
And this is Generation X Paranormal. Guys, if you are hearing this, then you have made it through January of 2026.
The snowpocalypse.
The snowpocalypse from,
Oh my gosh.
I mean, first of all, this is the reason why we did not have an episode last week is because, I mean, guys,
Yes.
There's no way we could have gotten in the studio with the type of weather that we had.
No. Well, if we could have just, I envy the people that when it's snowing, they can just stay in and keep warm and look outside and watch the snow.
Yeah, we have no such
We are
luck.
not those people.
No, we are not.
Somehow I have made our lives into Little House on the Prairie where I have to be out in the snow.
I know.
In the cold.
and the cold, guys. I mean, the snow was one thing. I mean, we've dealt with snow before.
It was so frigid.
Yeah, it was awful. It was the kind of cold where you go outside and you're like, okay, I know why people die in this stuff.
Yeah. The wind chill was like in the negatives. And, we have a wood fireplace as a backup heat source, so we have to go get wood.
Yes.
But we also have chickens for the first time this year.
Yes, we do.
And so I was worried to death about them. I had them all sealed up so there was no, getting frostbite, which they can get on their combs and their wattles and everything. And so I was worried about that and trying to keep them, make sure that their water wasn't freezing, and it was a whole thing. So most of my time was spent checking on them, getting wood, trying to keep us alive in the warmth. So
And I was in
didn't
charge
get
of
to
heat.
it. Yes.
I,
Yeah.
I was running that. That fireplace ran for at least 3 or 4 days straight, just nonstop.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, guys, it was a lot of fun. And I know that for the most part, even where we're at, we had it pretty easy for the most part.
Yeah, we didn't get that much snow, actually. Probably like maybe a foot.
Yeah, maybe. And I know that in the East Coast, they got hit pretty bad. And of
Yeah.
course, the southern states got that horrible ice. So,
Mhm.
guys, hey, we made it.
We came out easy, but it was still a lot of fun.
Yeah. But the good news is we are here now.
Yeah, we're back.
We're back. And we're going to continue our Shadows of Ireland. And it's going to be a lot of fun. The place that we went to, now, guys, we're going to tell you right now, there are going to be episodes that we're not going to do places that we went because we're not travel vloggers, right? It's not what we do. But we will bring you places that even if we didn't do a traditional investigation, we got stuff and it was interesting.
Mhm.
So, and this is definitely one of those places.
Yes.
And we were talking about Malahide Castle. And Malahide is such I was not expecting it, you know?
Gorgeous castle. And not just the castle, but the land around the castle.
Mhm.
I mean, Ardgillan was gorgeous, right?
Absolutely.
And so Malahide's not that far from Ardgillan.
Not
In
at
fact,
all.
the people that lived at both castles visited each other. So
Mhm.
it's right outside of Dublin, north of Dublin. But the grounds are just absolutely breathtaking. And you walk this trail to get to the castle in the first place. But you pass this old falling down abbey or
Mhm.
slash church, however you want to say it, and the gravestones are still there. So
Very
a lot
much
of the
so, yeah.
family are buried there. It was just really, really cool. And we're going to put some of these pictures up as we're talking about it. But it was a beautiful day. It was probably in the 60s, I'd say, and
Gotta be one of the warmest days we were there.
big puffy clouds
Yeah.
and blue sky, and it was beautiful. But you walk up, and in the front lawn of this, like where the castle looks out to, is just expansive.
Yeah.
Green grass like stretching. There's mountains in the background. Beautiful, beautiful,
Gorgeous, yeah.
big medieval type castle.
Yeah, and you look at some of these stuff and we knew we were going. It's not that we didn't know we were going to this place, but we knew that there were a few stops we're going to make that were more, I would say more on like the tourist kind of,
Yes.
we were going to see it and do a tour and kind of get to know the castle because it's a very important castle to Ireland, and especially like Dublin and that whole area. But this one snuck up on me. I did not expect it to be what it was. Now, of course, it's a castle, so I mean, it's always going to be really cool.
But you can look something up and say, "Oh, I'm going to go visit this," and see pictures of it. But it's never the same as actually being there.
Right.
And it was just gorgeous. I was so excited to walk into this place, and it was just beautiful. So we get there, but before we get there, we had been told that so they have these birds called magpies, okay? And they said the first time you see your first magpie in Ireland, you're supposed to salute it. It's like a tradition.
Is it the first lone one? Like if it doesn't have a partner?
I don't remember. I
I
just
don't
think it
remember
was
either.
like your first magpie.
Yeah.
And so we saw it, and so we saluted it on the way to Malahide. So that was our first magpie, and they're really cute birds.
They are. They're really cool. And they're not shy.
No.
No, they came right up to us and they were, right next to us. And we got I think we took some cool pictures and stuff of it. But
Yeah, we did.
yeah, it's the first time I've ever
So we
seen a
saw
magpie.
Yeah, so we saluted our first magpie.
That's
So we got
right.
that tradition in right
That's
away.
right. Good on you, sir.
So we're gonna start with some ghostly claims
Yeah.
about Malahide Castle. So we'll let you start.
Right. And that was another one where we initially thought it was just a tour. So we're like, okay, didn't really expect to do too much of the whole ghost, investigations or anything, but there are ghostly claims. And to start, Malahide Castle has a limestone base, right? Which might be a natural recorder of historical events. So what this is called a stone tape theory. And basically what it means is it can record emotional energy that can replay under particular atmospheric conditions. You see this with a lot of other things like, I think granite, I think a little bit too, quartz, of course, that's another one. Now they have reported that doors, that the staff that has locked these doors, but sometimes they'll unlock themselves, which is really strange. You hear about things with doors all the time, but them physically getting unlocked, that's pretty unusual. Now, those doors do happen to slam shut once they're open and shut. I mean, they're just constantly going back and forth. And of course, unseen hands push people as they're walking down the hallways, which, by the way, talk about freaking scary.
That would be frightening, yes.
Yeah, and then they've got water taps that turn on and off by themselves. So it is a very active place. Was not expecting that at first.
I was expecting any place in Ireland to be haunted at this point. After May told me throw a rock and hit a ghost, I was like, they're going to be everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So especially with something with that kind of history and that's been, erected that many years ago. I mean, there's got to be energy held in there. But so we are going through this whole castle, right? But I'm going to tell you about some of the things that we heard on the tour. But first, we're going to talk about notable people that they say could be haunting this place.
Right.
Okay. So in the beginning, in the history, they talked about the Talbots owned this for like almost 800 years, except for one period in time where there was another gentleman that owned it. I don't really want to say gentleman because he wasn't a very good guy.
Another human being. Sort of.
But his name was Miles Corbett. Okay. And so he was basically like a henchman of Cromwell. Okay. Right. So Cromwell, if you don't know, came over and stole all the lands, in Ireland and gave them out to people. So this guy was one of his henchmen. Well, when, they started fighting back and they were taking over, he took off basically. So he is supposed to be one of the ghosts that haunts this castle. And what's bad is like when he took off, they caught him and they ended up hang drawing and quartering him.
Ouch.
Okay. Which I'm not going to describe that right here, but you can go look it up. We all know. If you've ever watched Braveheart, you know what that is. But so Miles is supposed to appear in his military garb. And this is what I think. It's not funny, but I think it's totally made up. But they said that you see him and then he just falls into like 4 parts where like they would have taken his arms and legs off. And I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, I hate to make light of things because, you never know what other people see.
But like you see a ghost just like their arms and legs fall. That would be the more terrifying than just the normal.
I mean, just the thought of watching somebody walk around military garbs, one thing, and all of a sudden, dude, your arms fell off. We probably shouldn't be laughing about it, but still, I mean, it was one of those things where we heard that and we're like, all right,
But I'm reporting what is said. Yeah. So that's one of the things said. Now, in the Great Hall, where they, did all the feasting and everything, they do hear reports, or they don't hear reports, but it's reported that they hear a piano playing.
Right.
Okay. And it's usually after dark, so it's at nighttime. And apparently there was a former servant who got caught drinking and took his own life in this room.
For drinking?
They said that I guess they approached him and said, hey, you're over drinking or something, and took his own life. I don't know. Jeez. That's just what they said.
Man, you want a rum and Coke, and next thing you know, I mean...
But his spirit is felt near the fireplace, so that's where it's felt. Right. Now, these next couple are kind of related, and there's many different versions, so I'll try to explain them as I go along. So there was a knight called Sir Walter Hussey, okay? And there's 2 versions of this. And it's on his day of marriage, basically. He's supposed to marry this woman. Now, it's either right before he's supposed to marry her, he gets sent into battle in town, and he gets killed. Or he's already married her, and right after they get married, he's sent into town to break up fights or whatever, and he gets killed. It's one or the other, okay? But she is supposedly, after he dies, whether she was married him or not, or supposed to marry him, goes and marries one of his rivals, which was a Talbot.
Yikes.
Okay, so she becomes the wife of a Talbot. And so they say that they see his apparition. He stalks the castle grounds, and he can also be seen holding the wound in his side, seeking revenge.
Good Lord.
Wow. So there's 2 different versions. He's either already married her or was about to marry her, and now he's upset. He got killed, and he comes back. Okay. Now, this next lady that is seen is supposed to be the woman that he was supposed to marry. Okay, and her name was Lady Maud Plunkett.
Okay.
And her first name, can change in different, accounts that I've seen.
Okay.
But this is the main one. So Lady Maud Plunkett. And the main thing that is said about her is that she died angry at her husband. But this would be husband number 3. Because Sir Walter Hussey would be the first one if she actually married him.
Right.
Okay. Then she married the Talbot, the second one. And then the third one would be the next one. Okay. So this is the one she's mad at.
Sure.
Okay. So they say she died angry at her husband, and she can sometimes be heard arguing with him. Okay. Now, she is buried in the abbey within the castle grounds.
Okay.
Okay. And we're going to put up some pictures here. Her effigy is here. And I've got a few things that I found historically that say that is actually her. Okay. Now, what's funny is, no, I guess it's not funny. I shouldn't say it's funny. Funny, haha. So the first maybe husband, the knight that got killed, when he was called away on their wedding day, somebody wrote a song about it.
Okay.
I don't know, and it's an early song. I couldn't get a year on it, but it's called "The Ballad of the Bride of Malahide." Okay, and I've got a song sheet here I'm going to put up on the video, but some of the lyrics say, "She sinks on the meadow in one morning tide, a wife and a widow, a maid and a bride."
Oh, look at that. It rhymes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So she sinks on the meadow. So she must have been upset for half a second before she married the next one.
Listen, I mean, everybody's got their own story, but
Yes.
if she's angry at every one of them, I'm kind of getting the feeling that there's a little more to that story.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a 15th century type story. So, that much time has passed. You don't know what the true story is.
Yeah.
It's a game of telephone at this point.
It really is.
It's passed down. I mean, that's how we get a lot of our history. If it's not completely written down, or they try to write it down after 300 years have passed, who knows what the original story was, right?
It's changed so much. And we make light of these things. Guys, there's nothing to make light about somebody's passing. We understand that it's a little interesting what some of these reports are, and it sure shows a human side of it.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Okay, so that's one. Now this next report sometimes is said to be this lady, Maud, that they see, but then there's also a version of it that it's not. Okay, so one of the main reports is that of this white lady. And usually, most of the places you go, there's always a white lady in the white dress,
always
right?
is. Yep.
But there used to be a painting that hung in the castle of a lady in a white dress, okay? And I think it was in the Great Hall.
Okay.
They hung it in the Great Hall. It's no longer there. And they don't know who the woman was supposed to be or the artist that painted it. But the story is that this white lady would leave her painting and drift through the halls in the dead of night.
Yikes.
And even though the painting has been removed, they said they still see her in the castle grounds.
That's like the Nun or something, where they just come out. Yikes. I don't like that at all.
So some reports are that she's the lady from the painting. Some reports is this lady Maud.
Okay.
They're just looking for a source. So,
and you get these tropes a lot. You get the lady in white for a lot of places, which honestly, that's very likely. I mean, people wore those kind of gossamer gowns, and then, if they pass away, that could very well be something that
well, I
they're
mean,
wearing,
you got 800 years of history in
Right.
this castle. It could be any
Yeah,
woman.
it could be anybody. Yeah.
Now, we're going to talk about our walking through.
Yeah.
Okay. So the one thing we were not allowed to take video walking through the tour.
Right.
Okay. So we've got some pictures for you, but that's about it. Not till the very end. We've got a little video of something else. And there is one other account of a haunting, but we're going to wait for that one because it's a special one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
So we start out, and I remember we kind of get in and we start the tour, and we end up going upstairs, and we end up in the Oak Room.
Right. And that place
is gorgeous.
Crazy cool. Guys, and there's going to be pictures up here, and for those of you listening. So when we say Oak Room, it's not like they've got some pieces of oak furniture or something. The walls are all adorned in oak. It is the coolest freaking thing.
Yeah, and carved in just carvings of different like scenes and stuff like that. They've got the wood table and the furniture, and the front windows are gorgeous, letting in all this light because it's like a dark oak color.
Yeah.
When you buy oak stain or whatever, it's at that dark
it's super
color.
dark.
And I wish I could have taken a picture of like all the little walls, all the little
panels and everything.
the panels. And there was an old chair in the corner, which we're going to put up the picture here. I thought it was funny because they don't want people sitting in it.
Right.
but somebody set a pine cone
I
in
know.
the seat.
That
Like,
would hurt.
if you sit here, you'll get hurt by the pine cone to keep people off of it. I thought
It's
it
a
was
very
pretty
nice,
funny.
natural way of saying don't sit here.
Yeah.
You know
But
what?
it's like a medieval chair.
Oh, it big
was
time
very,
is.
very cool.
And you know, can you imagine what kind of a flex that was back in the old days? Be like, yeah, my whole room is made of oak. And then they come upstairs and like the whole panels and everything.
Yeah.
Imagine how expensive that probably was back then. It's
Well,
expensive now.
They were English royalty,
Yeah,
so
I know.
they had money.
But talk about a flex.
Yeah. So that room was just really, really cool. And then we ended up in like a drawing room, and she ends up talking about the tour guide, all the antiques, and there was paintings and all this stuff. And there was a specific room that is an orange color. And they said that they found that color underneath like old wallpaper. And so they call that color is actually called Malahide orange now. So it's named after the castle.
That's so cool.
Because that color didn't exist anywhere else.
Yeah.
And now it does. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
And then I think, we ended up in a bunch of different rooms. But as we're walking through here, you start to sense something, and I'll let you talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I started feeling like there was a very male presence, very angry male presence. And again, I don't partake in saying that I have this, great power. And I know most people that listen to this are probably gonna tell me just shut up. But and one in particular. But I just got this immediate sense of like a very powerful, stoic, oppressive man, not happy with us being there. I kind of felt him like behind me, kind of felt him judging. Every time we got close to something, he's almost like, don't touch that. Get away from that. You don't belong here. So it was a very uncomfortable feeling at first.
I remember you saying that he's following us from room to room. I do remember that part of it.
Yeah, and he would he wouldn't speak to me, of course, but he would sort of like point, or kind of like, I know those of you listening are going to see this, but the whole eyes like, look over there, don't do that. So he wasn't like mean spirited, like trying to scare me, but more like, I know you can see me, dude, so I'm telling you right now, you guys are getting way too freaking close to this.
Like, leave stuff alone.
Yeah, leave stuff alone. Tell your people to back the heck off. So it was that kind of feeling I got.
So after all these rooms, we ended up going up to the next level, which I think is actually like a third level, if I remember right. And there's like a long hallway, and I remember at the very end of the hallway, there was a beautiful bedroom.
That was really neat.
Like a big window where you could look out on the front lawn. And you started sensing something else there.
Yeah, so there's like kind of, I don't know if you call it a bay window or what you would call that, kind of like that, almost like a seating area where you can have a table, maybe somebody drinks coffee or something. And I think even the picture there is a table, but I got this feeling that there was a woman there looking for someone, was waiting for somebody to come home, kept looking out that window. Yeah, that's what I was getting.
Now, while this is going on, because I know there was a few of us in the bedroom, like checking that out. At the other end of the hallway, the rest of our group are talking about something else going on, which we're not going to mention right now. We're going to talk about it later because it has to do with what we're the end game here. Okay,
I don't want to go to this.
So it was just a pretty interesting little thing, but we missed out on a lot of it because we were in the bedroom. But so we decide at this point we're going to go down to the Great Hall. At this point, the tour guide has now caught on that we're on a ghost tour. Well, like a ghost tour of Ireland. Because I remember her looking at Chris. She's like, "So you're like a Ghostbuster."
Yeah, she did say
and I
that.
remember laughing at that really hard because I'm like, I don't think I haven't heard that term since the 80s.
Yeah, I know. I can just see Chris like wearing one of those, Ghostbuster uniforms with proton pack. Chris, I think we got another thing we can put a painting on. That would be really cool.
Yeah. So she's like really into it, right? So we decide, she takes us down to the Great Hall, which is so gorgeous. And I think some of the Art Institute or something has donated a bunch of art to hang in there. So a lot of the pieces are not the Talbot family that are hanging on the wall. It's just different art from
and that's pretty common, I think, for a lot of these castles because there's donors that put things there, pieces of art that want to be shown, and it's more important for like big galleries. They'll put place things in those sort of places. For one, it helps with the whole preservation of it, but that's where they're kind of meant to be seen too.
Yeah. But there's this big, long, wooden table
Mhm.
with all the chairs. And then if you look towards the front, I mean, there's a huge window and there's
Mhm.
a big wooden balcony and then a window behind it.
Mhm.
And you've got doors on both sides at the top part of the balcony. There's doors. And then there's a little tiny, like, what I'd call a hobbit door on the bottom right. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what is that? That's so
Yeah.
strange to
That's
be
funny you
there.
call it a hobbit door.
It does
That's
look
what it
like
looks
a
like.
hobbit, like a medieval hobbit door,
Yeah.
because
It
it's more
is.
pointy.
Mhm.
But I'm like, what is that? Well, we find out.
Yeah.
So the tour guide starts talking about, now that she knows, we're on a ghost tour, basically, that someone had found or not found, but had taken a picture up on the balcony, and there's like a shadow figure that looks like it's sitting
Mhm.
on the balcony.
Right.
And so, we're all looking at this picture. I got a picture of her picture, basically, and so we're gonna put it up here. But she was telling us that, so this is a medieval dining hall. So you got to think about, you got all these nobles, right? And this is the point I want to make, is that humanity has not changed very
Nope.
much.
Not really.
You got medieval nobles eating dinner. They could just be talking to each other, but no, they have to be what?
Entertained.
Entertained.
Come on now.
So that balcony was for the entertainment. And a
Yeah.
lot of the time they would have people come out and sing. They would have, a jester come out and, do magician type stuff. So that's what that balcony was for. And it's at the very top so they could look up from while they're eating and watch entertainment. So it's just like, it's so shocking to me. We really haven't changed that much.
Flat screen of their day.
Yes, exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So that's what the balcony was for. So she shows us the picture, and it is pretty interesting. We're gonna put it up here, and it does look like something's sitting there, which is crazy. But then she goes on to tell us about who she thinks it is. Okay. So this is the one we were saving for the end because it's a very notable, known spirit
Yeah.
at Malahide, and it's not just like a new story, because even the Talbot family talked about seeing this a
Right.
lot.
This is kind of the big show. This
Mhm.
is the one where not only investigators of today, should they be allowed to do it, which I think we got kind of special privilege on that, but this is a very well known. Like you said, it goes way back.
Yeah, like the Talbot family said they saw him and things get moved. The tour guide goes on to tell us about Puck.
Right.
Okay.
Low
Now,
Puck.
Puck was a dwarf, and he was the Talbot family jester. And this was supposedly during the Tudor times, so like 15th century. The Tudor times, if you watch the Tudors, you already know this, okay? Which is self-explanatory.
Yeah,
But if not,
exactly.
I'll get into it a little bit more, okay? I talked about the little door, right?
Mhm.
So the little door to the right was Puck's entrance and exit to where his room was. So that's where he would go up the stairs to his little room, because he would also watch out over the castle, because the front of the castle is right there. So he was kind of like a watchman and a jester. So he could come out of that door, out of his room, entertain the nobles, and go back in. Okay?
That's so wrong in so many ways,
It is,
but
but this was history. This is what
I know,
happened. Okay?
I know.
Now, there are a couple different stories when it comes to Puck and how he passed away,
Right.
and stories about him. Okay. So the tour guide told us the version that he was in love with a noblewoman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That was at the castle, and she rejected him, or he wasn't allowed to love her, or whatever the story may be. And he hung himself over the balcony.
Right.
Okay. Because the love was not returned.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's one version. I've also seen a version where he was in love, or fell in love with a noble woman that was kept hostage at Malahide by order of King Henry VIII.
Hmm.
Okay, King Henry VIII, Tudors. Okay,
Yes. Yeah, he's well known.
Mr. Decapitation. Okay.
Off
Let's
with
get
the head.
off that. He liked taking off heads of women.
Man.
That ticked him off. Okay. So if this woman existed, she got lucky. Okay. So apparently Puck fell in love with this noble woman hostage that was at Malahide, and he tried to find a way to help her escape. And as they were escaping, something happened, and he was found outside the castle in the winter snow, and he had been stabbed in the heart. Okay? Now, and what is said is that with his dying breath, he vowed to haunt Malahide forever.
Boy, did he ever.
That's a really good tale, isn't it?
It is a great tale.
Mm-hmm. Now, when they started restoring the castle during like the 1970s and did all this restoration and stuff, they were seeing him on the castle grounds. They said they could see a jester.
Okay,
walking around. I don't know. So 3 different versions. So we'll
Right.
remember these. Fell in love with a noble woman, hung himself over the balcony. Version 2, fell in love with the noble hostage and tried to help her escape, got killed
Right.
outside, right? Or version number 3 is he fell in love with just a noble woman and she rejected him and something happened and he got killed outside.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, when it's that old, you're never going to know the exact truth.
Right.
But
Right.
in the end, I mean, he came to a very vicious end. So you guys know what happens when, or what can happen anyway, when there's that sort of very violent end that happens. You can get the sort of haunting.
Now, he's known, he's a jester, obviously. So
Right.
he's known as being a trickster, okay? And people report that there's vanishing objects, flickering lights, and whispers in the minstrel's gallery and tower room where he once lived. Some said that they have seen a bearded man in a jester's cap, and they felt a tug at their clothes while climbing the stairs.
Yeah, that I can understand that because those stairs are so narrow and they have such interesting angles. But you always wonder with something like that because, you know, you could feel your clothes getting tangled as you're coming up some things. Is that just the angle that you're going up, or is there somebody actually
I don't know.
actually there?
So this is, what's reported a lot in the Great Hall. So we decide we're going to do a small little mini investigation in the Great Hall, and this is the only video that we have for you. And I apologize because I'm doing it on my phone. My finger gets in the way a couple times. And it is really contaminated, guys, because there's someone that wasn't in our group walking around, and movement and all the things. And Chris is a distance from us, and he's using his phone app, Necrophonics, okay, to try to speak. We're going to try to speak to Puck and see if we can get any answers. And he includes our tour guide on this, which was really, really awesome. So this is our first time trying to speak to Puck. She was
pretty pumped, I think.
Yeah, she was excited. You could tell. So we're going to play some clips and then try to explain to you what we think we hear and possible.
And one thing to add about Necrophonics, okay, I feel it's important to add this. There are a lot of people who have problems with these apps. I understand that. We understand that. And it's not that it's not warranted, but you have to remember any type of device, any type of app is always going to have some sort of confirmation bias, right?
Yes.
You just got to be a little bit careful. You're going to hear things that come out of that are not at all.
They're going to sound right.
Right. They're not going to sound right. It's not what we're focusing on. But along with other detection devices and apps and everything, there are very direct answers that come from it.
That's what you are listening for.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to play this small little clip, and then we're going to talk about it.
Puck, did you hang yourself over the balcony in the Great Hall?
Yes.
Okay.
Now just purchase it. What killed? Was your heart broken? Was. Okay then. So someone broke your heart. Was it a woman? Lily. Understood. That's her. So the woman's name is Lily?
Lily's name.
Killed me. Okay, so the fact that she didn't want to be with you, it killed you.
What?
Is this true? Yes. I'm sorry.
One of the first answers that we get out of this, did you hang yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We got a yes. Okay. And we're talking to Puck. Why? It says killed. Okay. Was your heart broken? Was. And this next part, you may not have heard it. I didn't actually hear it come off the app. Okay. But we were a distance from it. And either Chris heard this psychically or he heard it on the app because it was right next to him and it was so low that we were just not going to hear it. We were distant, but I trust him
Sure. Yeah.
in what he heard. And he heard the name Lily.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he asked it again, is Lily the woman? It's her.
Yeah.
Killed me. Right? So even though we didn't hear Lily, like I couldn't hear it, it still confirmed what he said.
Yeah, and that's the thing when you have somebody as gifted as Chris,
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think he hears these things. Obviously, it's very psychically. May not hear it on the actual detection device, but when he heard it, so
And we've got many friends that are mediums, and that
Yes.
happens every time we
A lot.
investigate with them.
Yes.
Just like, did you hear this? Nope.
Nope, sure didn't.
You heard it, but then there's always confirmation
Mhm.
afterwards.
Yeah.
So I trust him that that's what he heard, whether it was off the app or he heard it, that the name was Lily.
Right.
But it did confirm it's her, killed me.
Mm-hmm.
And his question, the fact that she didn't want to be with you, this killed you? Like, what?
Right.
Is this true? We don't really get an answer, but there is a small, and at first I couldn't tell if it was coming off the EVP or if it was coming off the app or it was an actual EVP because it sounded different. And I still can't tell you.
I personally think it's an EVP.
I think so too, because of the way it sounds.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not 100%. I'm only probably about 60% on
Right.
that of what I actually think that we're hearing here. But there's a woman's voice,
Mm-hmm.
and I think she says governess.
Right. I heard governor, and then if you heard more of it, it does sound like that.
I listened to this thing probably 30 times, and I think it says governess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then it must be.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So here's what I'm thinking. Okay, after getting these answers, okay, yes, hung, killed, she killed me. And they would think it that way. Like, she made me so upset and I was brokenhearted that she killed me.
Right.
Okay, because she rejected me, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Her name was Lily. She was a governess. Okay,
Right.
so I looked up. Obviously, I was like, this is going to be like a needle in a haystack to see if
Sure.
I can find anything. Yes, the Talbot family had many governesses because English royals, of course, anybody at that time period, they did not raise their children.
No.
Servants raised their children. It was
Mhm.
just what happened, okay? And they don't call them nannies. They call them a governess,
Right.
okay? Go back and read Jane Eyre. Governess, okay?
Yes.
Okay, that's what they called them. And so they would have had governess during the 15th century. That would have
Mhm.
been what happened. Now, when I looked it up, I tried to find records of any staff, anything that the Talbot family would have had. They did not keep records of their
Virtually
help.
impossible.
Well, I mean, people write stuff down.
Sure.
There
but
was only
governesses,
there was only one record of like one person saying that they were a governess at Malahide Castle, and it was not the same time period, and it wasn't the same name, and it wouldn't have even made sense.
right.
But it was because it was her own account saying, yes, I used to work at Malahide as a
Mhm.
governess, okay? But as far as the Talbot family having those records, don't exist, okay?
Right.
So I can't find a Lily associated with being a governess. I can't even, nothing. There's nothing that exists for that. But when I kept searching for stories about Puck and who he could have been, now this is all over the internet, so you can go look this up, okay?
It's on the internets.
So the internet says that he was in love with this Eleanor Fitzgerald, who was a countess, okay? And she's supposed to be the noble that was either there, basically being hostage,
right.
and the hostage, King Henry VIII put her there, whatever. So Henry VIII, during Tudor times, would have been 15th century, okay? So when I looked up this Eleanor Fitzgerald, who was supposedly the one he was supposed to be in love with, right? Her story is she has her own home with her husband, the Fitzgerald Castle or whatever, and they are not very well behaved people to the English throne, okay? She lives during the 16th century, not the 15th, and her husband keeps getting captured, and she has to keep going over to Elizabeth I and pleading for his life so she doesn't behead him, right?
Right.
So he keeps coming back home. He gets in trouble again. She has to keep going back, right? So that shows her interaction with Elizabeth I. Now, if you don't know, I only do because I watch all these old medieval shows and look up history, but Elizabeth I is Henry VIII's daughter that he basically sent out into the countryside because her mother was Anne Boleyn. Okay. So she was not supposed to be in line for the throne. It was supposed to be a male, right? Because he kept having daughters.
Not succession.
Yes. And the reason he kept beheading all these women is because he kept having daughters. Back then they didn't know that it was the male who influenced what the gender of the child was.
We learned a lot in the time.
Yes, we have. But he blamed the women so behead, try again, behead, try again, behead, try again. Okay, so but Anne Boleyn did do some not so great things.
Yeah.
But that is Elizabeth I. That's her mother. Okay, so she's in line for the throne. So now she's Elizabeth I. So Eleanor. We've got records of her going to Elizabeth I to get her husband out of trouble. Now, eventually, their lands are taken. Eleanor becomes destitute. Her husband gets beheaded, gets killed by the English throne, and there's
Can only go to that well so many times.
Right. There's no record of her ever being at Malahide, any reason for her to be held hostage or anything like that. So the time periods, if we know that Puck is from the 15th century, I can't find anything on that.
Right.
But that's the going story.
Right.
Okay. So their time periods don't match up.
The
stories don't match up. Right. So my guess is there wasn't Eleanor Fitzgerald that he was in love with.
Yeah.
So the fact that we get EVP or app voice, whichever it was, what I think says governess, and her name was Lily, maybe that is the person that he was in love with.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, is these old stories, I always try to look at them at face value, right? Like Game of Telephone. The story gets blown up and it gets more intricate and things just end up not making sense, right?
Right.
But if you look at the time period, you've got a jester who basically comes in and out of his room and that's all he gets to do and entertain nobles. Would he have ever been able to really interact with a noble woman? A noble woman, or even a noble woman that was, being held hostage at the castle. He would not have had. Now, he could have been in love from afar.
Sure.
Right? But what would he have had?
You gotta say it like that, man. Poor little guy.
Well, enough to kill himself over it is what I'm saying.
I know.
But he would have had access to a governess because she was also a worker of the castle. She was in servitude to them. He would have been able to go to the kitchen and talk to the governess.
He would have had access.
He could go to the governess and talk to her and walk the grounds with her. He could fall in love with her. And it would have been easy for him to be like, oh, I'm in love. And she would have been like, no.
Yeah.
Right? If he would have even stepped, and here's the other thing, is if he would have tried to interact with a noblewoman and try to, or help her escape or whatever, and he got killed outside the castle, wouldn't it have just been the Talbot guards or knights or whatever they would have ordered him killed for trying that?
For sure.
there wouldn't be this big mystery about who, and got stabbed in the heart where he was already,
Right.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a metaphor for his heart was
Yeah, he's
broken.
heartbroken, yeah.
Yeah. So I think this whole elaborate story of him getting stabbed out in the snow in his heart and he was going to haunt the castle forever, it's a good story. It's a good haunting story. It's a good broken-hearted little man dies and now he's going to haunt, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case. More than likely, if this is the story, he fell in love with somebody else that worked at the castle.
Sure,
She
governess.
probably, said, "No, I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm not in love with you." And he hung himself over the
Sadly,
balcony
yeah.
where he always entertained them.
Mm-hmm.
That story would make a million times more sense than this
Absolutely.
other story.
Right.
Now, obviously, we don't know that that's what happened. It's just from the answers that we got,
Mm-hmm.
that makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, it's the only one that passes the common sense test to me.
So we're going to play this next little clip because we get a few more answers
Yeah,
from him,
we
and then
do.
we'll talk about it.
Puck, were you sitting over the balcony 2 years ago? And what happened with the biscuit?
No question. Puck, is that picture of you? No. Who is the picture of? Imps. Okay, that's what I thought. Imps, thank you. How many were in the picture? Yes. Yes. Imp. So you kept hearing it. How many are in the picture? Imp, thank you. Imp, okay. Yes, okay. How many? I'll ask you to tell you why I know what that is. When I was standing here, I saw a black mass quickly go up, like a little black, like this big, like a shadow. Poof! I'm like, oh man, that's what they turn into imps.
Yeah, like gargoyles or something, is it?
Yeah, like little gargoyles. And they will come together as one form, and they will pretend to be other things to trick, because they're tricksters. They're elemental tricksters. Yeah. Like, yeah, they're just a trickster. So they were pretending to be Puck.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Are they the ones that put into Puck's head to hang himself?
Yes.
Okay. Because they cause sometimes people to do bad things to themselves, like commit suicide. Yes. Okay.
Can I ask you?
Yeah, hang on. Just 1 second. We're gonna finish these two first. Puck. Okay, Puck, you need to forgive yourself. And those entities need to leave and no longer affect anyone else. Thank you. That's a question. Yes.
Who put the biscuit outside your door on the balcony?
Who? Yes.
Hey, Jonathan.
Yeah, who's Jonathan?
Used to be the security guard.
Oh.
We always suspected him.
I didn't call him out.
This is more security guard.
Oh, I didn't call him out.
Puck, does your grief keep you here? Is that why you can't pass?
Wants to stay here. Here, wants to stay here.
Oh, are you with the Talbots now?
Are any of the Talbots here? The spirits of the Talbots?
Jeez.
So this is so funny, okay? Because the tour guide is telling us the story. So apparently Puck would, when he would eat, he would set his food outside the door to be picked up, like his plates and stuff when he was done.
Yeah.
And so she's telling us the story like way ahead of time about this biscuit was found outside his door and nobody could figure out how it got there. And they're thinking that Puck stole it from the kitchen and set it outside his door, like on this
Right.
plate. Like this is a haunting thing. Oh my gosh, this plate, like this is what he used to do, right? And so she asks, was that you sitting over the balcony? What about this biscuit? And you hear so clearly, what biscuit? It's like, that's so funny.
I know.
What biscuit? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I got no biscuit.
And Puck, is that a picture of you? No. So that right there is a no. That's not me sitting on the balcony. Okay, who is the picture of? Now we get a little female voice in here, but I cannot tell what it says.
Clue.
But we several times get imps. Now, what we kept in this clip is Chris describing to the tour guide what an imp is, because
Right.
it's better to come from him than from us.
Yeah,
He's had a lot more experience with that.
for sure.
So if you got to go back and listen to that, but we kept getting imps about this, okay? And when he asked how many of these imps are in the picture, it's interesting because you had your ghost tube on at the same time, and it says we can't say.
Can't say, yeah.
Like, the spirits don't know, okay? They were pretending to be Puck. They were. So we were getting direct answers,
Right.
which is just remarkable on this app, okay? Are they the ones that put into Puck's head to hang himself? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say Puck.
Right.
They literally say Puck. You can almost, talk about the negative influences that they have, and that, yeah, maybe he was brokenhearted and they just made it worse.
Sure.
And made him fixate on it. And then that's why he hung
He
himself.
broke him down.
And I love, this is one of my favorite parts of this whole trip. And you can hear us all laughing. Like, it was just so funny. Who put the biscuit outside your door on the balcony? Jonathan.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that was a security guard.
I know.
That's what he told. The spirits totally ousted that security guard.
Jonathan, you got so hung out to dry.
Yes,
Sorry, dude. It was pretty funny, though. Yeah.
And then, Puck, does your grief keep you here? Is that why you can't pass? And I think that was Alex that asked that question.
Yeah.
No, stay here.
Yeah,
He just wants to be there. It was his home. You know,
you got to think about, this was not only his home, but it was his life. I mean, he not only entertained, but he also guarded the place. Like, they trusted him with their own well-being, the protection.
Yeah.
Right.
And I love that May asked this question, because I thought it was really important to know.
Mm-hmm.
Are you with the Talbots now? Yes. Or any of the Talbots here? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't they be?
Yeah, they're with the family.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really good little session there.
Yeah, it was.
About speaking with Puck.
Yeah. And what was really nice about it is that, we were somewhat gifted this experience, because I don't think this is anything.
We weren't supposed to be
investigating, but I think the tour guide was excited about, having the opportunity to work with Chris and getting to do it.
Yeah.
She had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, you just normally just say the same stories over and over every day to these guests that walk through, and you've got a group that's like allows you to talk to the spirits that you're talking about every day, or interacting with every day, or you hear stuff or things move and you're like, you get a chance to speak to them. How exciting is that?
Yeah. It's not like Big Ben Parliament. It's like they get so excited only so many times.
Right. Okay. So this last thing, it's just a tiny little clip. And we were talking about when we were doing the tour, and we were on the second or third floor, I think. I think it was actually the third floor. And the other, we were in the bedroom, and the other group there was something going on there. Well, we're going to talk about that right now. So there was a girl on our tour, Sade, and she had like a bag with her.
Mm-hmm.
And something happened. I don't know specifically what happened, but there was something that happened with the clasp on her bag.
Right.
Either got unhooked or hooked in a different place where it made it where she couldn't hardly get to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were going to find out who did that.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? So Chris had her try to talk, and apparently there's a little girl that's supposed to be on that floor as well. So we're going to play this clip right here, and then we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
Did you change the clasp on my bag?
Was the little girl playing with her?
I thought this was really funny. And in the moment, we didn't hear this,
Mm-hmm.
but playing it back, I heard it clear as a bell. And there's supposed to be a little girl on that floor
Right.
that I had forgotten about. Was a little girl playing with her? No.
No.
Puck.
It's Puck. Yeah.
They called him out, Puck.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of pointing fingers from some of those people. Like Jonathan, no, it's Puck. I don't know. What do you mean?
I love when they tell on each other
I
because
know.
it just it grasps the human
Right. And that's the biggest
concept of it. Like I'd be like, no, I didn't do it. You did.
right. And that's, I think, one of the biggest things that since starting this whole thing is that you forget there's a human experience behind all this.
Yes.
And if we believe what we want to believe about entities, they were us once.
Mhm.
And so will we be like them someday?
Yeah.
So if you get to carry any of that to the other side, I mean, you're still going to have a sense of humor, could be angry.
Yeah.
All these sort of things. So yeah, I mean, they laugh. We've heard entities
laugh.
We've heard crying. You hear all these things.
Mm-hmm.
So
Emotions.
it's emotions, and that's the biggest part. Yeah.
Yeah. So Malahide was a great historical tour. It was just wonderful being in a medieval castle and
Yeah.
seeing all this beautiful architecture and all these antiques and just a gorgeous,
fun.
gorgeous place.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Having that quick little interaction with Puck was really neat to have and to
Mhm.
watch how much it lit up the tour guide, and she was so excited
She
about
really
it.
was,
And
yeah.
what a gift to her,
It
to
was.
be able to experience that. And so that in itself was wonderful. But yeah, so that was Malahide
Yeah.
Castle.
Little surprise, just didn't expect it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
But so we will be back next week.
Yeah, unless 400 pounds of snow drops on us again.
Oh, I need a break. It's supposed to be warm
Yeah.
this week.
Oh,
But
God.
next week,
Yeah.
we travel up Dublin Mountain to a historic structure tied with very dark tales.
And some of you may know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a good one, guys.
Yeah, we're excited to show this one to you.
But once again,
So thank you for listening, and we will see you next week.
see you next week.